Remember when riding the rails meant something special? Before interstate highways and budget airlines, American passenger trains were the kings of travel. These weren't just trains, they were rolling palaces that defined luxury, speed, and adventure across this great nation. Today, we're counting down 10 legendary passenger trains that made America move. Let's roll. 10. The Chief. Back in 1926, the Atchison, Topeka, and Santa Fe Railway introduced what would become one of America's most beloved trains, the Chief. This all-Pullman beauty ran between Chicago and Los Angeles, covering the distance in about 63 hours when it first launched. The Chief was Santa Fe's answer to growing demand for faster, more comfortable transcontinental service. What made this train special wasn't just its speed, but the experience it delivered. Passengers enjoyed fine dining courtesy of the famous Fred Harvey Company, whose restaurants and dining car service set the gold standard for railroad food. The Chief operated with heavyweight equipment pulled by powerful steam locomotives, later transitioning to diesel power in the 1940s. Lightweight, streamlined cars entered service in early 1938, and later accelerations cut the schedule. By January 1954, it was down to 39 hours, 45 minutes. The Chief offered connection service at Chicago with the Pennsylvania Railroad's Broadway Limited and the New York Central's 20th Century Limited, providing seamless coast-to-coast travel. While the Super Chief eventually became Santa Fe's flagship, the Chief maintained its reputation as a first-class operation that combined Pullman sleepers with coach service, making transcontinental luxury accessible to more travelers. The train continued operations until 1968, with a brief 3-month revival by Amtrak in the summer of 1972. Before you ride on ahead, if you're liking this video, please give it a thumbs up. YouTube's new hype button will appear as soon as you do. Check it out. 9. Southern Crescent. The Southern Railway's Crescent was a train that defined elegance in the American South. Its roots stretched back to 1891 when the Richmond and Danville Railroad launched the Washington and Southwestern Vestibule. Limited, one of the first trains in the Southeast with enclosed vestibules between cars. The train evolved through several names before becoming the Crescent Limited in 1925, running as an all-Pullman extra-fare luxury train between New York and New Orleans. What really set this train apart was Southern Railway's legendary commitment to service. The Crescent featured the railroad's stunning Virginia green and gold color scheme applied to beautiful PS4 Pacific steam locomotives that are still considered among the most gorgeous engines ever built. One of these locomotives, number 1401, now resides in the Smithsonian's National Museum of American History and even pulled President Franklin Roosevelt's funeral train in 1945. The train was dieselized in 1941 and finally received full streamlined equipment in 1950. In 1970, Southern combined the Crescent with another train, the Southerner, creating the Southern Crescent. Here's the remarkable part. While Amtrak took over most American passenger service, in 1971, Southern Railway kept running the Southern Crescent as a private operation for 8 more years, making it one of the last privately operated intercity passenger trains. Southern handed it to Amtrak in 1979. The Rio Grande Zephyr remained private until 1983. The Southern finally turned the train over to Amtrak in 1979. 8. Olympian Hiawatha. The Milwaukee Road entered the transcontinental market with style when the Olympian Hiawatha made its debut on June 29, 1947. Designed to compete head-to-head with the Great Northern's Empire Builder and Northern Pacific's North Coast Limited for Chicago to Pacific Northwest passengers, this streamliner brought innovation and elegance to the route. What set the Olympian High apart was its spectacular equipment. Industrial designer Brooks Stevens created the train's signature Skytop Lounge sleeper observation cars, glass-enclosed beauties with panoramic rear windows that many consider the most breathtaking observation cars ever built. Six Creek Series Skytop cars became icons of American railroading. In 1952, Milwaukee added another first, the Superdome, one of the earliest full-length dome cars in America, offering 360-degree views of the stunning Rocky Mountain and Cascade scenery along the route. The train operated on a 43-hour, 30-minute schedule between Chicago and Seattle-Tacoma, following Milwaukee Road's own transcontinental line. A notable feature was the railroad's unique electrified main line through Montana and Idaho, the longest electrified rail segment in North America, where powerful electric locomotives hauled the train through mountain passes. Original motive power came from distinctive Fairbanks Morse diesel locomotives painted in orange, maroon, and stainless steel. Despite its stunning equipment and scenic route, the Olympian Hiawatha faced financial struggles. Competition was fierce, and the Milwaukee's route served fewer major cities than its rivals. The train was discontinued in May 1961, becoming one of the first major name trains to end service in the modern era, a harbinger of challenges facing American passenger rail. 7. Twin Cities Hiawatha Speed. That's what the Milwaukee Road's Twin Cities Hiawatha delivered, and it did so with style that's still legendary today. When this streamliner debuted on May 29, 1935, it instantly redefined what American passenger trains could be. The train connected Chicago with Minneapolis and St. Paul on a schedule that regularly saw speeds exceeding 100 miles per hour. We're talking about 1935 here, folks. Those speeds were absolutely staggering. The railroad's famous trackside signs reading, "Reduced to 90 inches," became the stuff of legend. The original Hiawatha was powered by streamlined class A4-4-2, Atlantic-type steam locomotives built by the American Locomotive Company and styled by industrial designer Otto Kohler. These gorgeous machines were completely shrouded in streamlining and painted in the train's distinctive orange and gray livery. What really set the Milwaukee Road apart was that they built most of the passenger cars themselves in their own Milwaukee shops, a rarity in the streamliner era when most railroads bought from Pullman Standard or Budd Company. The train featured unique beaver tail observation cars with a distinctive tapered rear end, unlike the round end observations found on most other streamliners. By 1948, these were replaced with the even more spectacular skytop lounge observations. The train proved so popular that Milwaukee Road split it into two services, the morning Hiawatha and afternoon Hiawatha. The trains used 4-6-4 Hudson-type steam locomotives and later EMDE series diesels. The morning Hiawatha made its final runs on April 30th, 1971, the day before Amtrak took over American passenger service. 6. City of Los Angeles. Union Pacific Railroad understood something important in 1936. The future of passenger railroading was diesel power and streamlining. The city of Los Angeles, which began service in May 1936, proved they were right. This wasn't just another train, it was the second of Union Pacific's revolutionary diesel streamliners to serve the West Coast, following the city of Portland by about a year. The original train used the articulated M10002 streamliner set, featuring bulbous-nosed diesel locomotives that looked like nothing else on American rails. These early EMC, Electromotive Corporation diesels, proved that you didn't need steam to haul passengers fast and in comfort. The city of LA made the 2,299-mile run between Chicago and Los Angeles initially on a 5 monthly schedule, but demand quickly grew. By December 1937, Union Pacific replaced the articulated train set with full-size, non-articulated equipment pulled by 3 unit sets of E2 diesel locomotives. The train expanded to daily service in 1947, running on a blistering 39-hour, 45-minute schedule. The consist typically included 14 to 17 cars with everything from coaches to multiple sleeping cars, dining cars, and lounge observation cars. In the mid-1950s, the city of Los Angeles even appeared in 2 episodes of the hit TV show I Love Lucy, cementing its place in American pop culture. The train worked in partnership with the Chicago and Northwestern Railway east of Omaha, later the Milwaukee Road after 1955, to reach Chicago. The city of Los Angeles maintained service until Amtrak took over on May 1st, 1971. 5. Empire Builder. Named after James J. Hill, the legendary railroad baron known as the Empire Builder, this Great Northern Railway flagship has become the most enduring of America's named passenger trains. The original Empire Builder was inaugurated on June 10, 1929, running heavyweight equipment on a 63-hour westbound schedule between Chicago and Seattle. What made Hill's Railroad different was its northern transcontinental route through spectacular country, including Glacier National Park, a park whose creation Hill himself had lobbied for, understanding that scenic beauty would attract passengers. After World War II, Great Northern completely re-equipped the train with streamlined, diesel-powered cars that debuted on February 23, 1947. These new trains, built by Pullman Standard, featured a striking color scheme of Omaha orange and Pullman green, with gold striping one of the most distinctive paint schemes in American railroading. The streamlined Empire Builder cut the schedule to just 45 hours. In 1951, Great Northern ordered yet another complete set of equipment, and in 1955 added Budd-built dome coaches and full-length Great Dome observation cars, giving passengers unprecedented views of the Rocky Mountains and northern wilderness. The train operated with pairs of EMD F7 diesel locomotives rather than the more common E units because the F7's better traction was needed for mountain grades. The Empire Builder was jointly operated between Chicago and St. Paul on Burlington route tracks, then on Great Northern's own line to Seattle and Portland. Today's Amtrak Empire Builder still follows much of the original route, making it one of the longest-running name trains in American history. 4. California Zephyr. This is the one that railroad buffs call the most beautiful train ride in America, and they're not wrong. When the California Zephyr made its inaugural run on March 20th, 1949, it wasn't just launching a new train, it was introducing a new concept in rail travel. This was deliberately designed as a scenic rail cruise, rather than the fastest way between Chicago and California. The CZ was a joint operation between three railroads, the Chicago, Burlington, and Quincy from Chicago to Denver, the Denver and Rio Grande Western from Denver to Salt Lake City, and the Western Pacific from Salt Lake City to Oakland. The scheduling was brilliant. The train passed through the most spectacular scenery, including the Colorado Rockies and California's Feather River Canyon, entirely in daylight hours. The train featured 5 Vista Dome cars, giving 120 passengers at a time elevated glass, enclosed seating with panoramic views. Built by the Budd Company with gleaming stainless steel exteriors, the cars bore exotic names and featured Southwest-inspired interiors designed by architect Paul Crett. The California Zephyr also employed hostesses called Zephyrettes, who served as tour guides, pointing out landmarks and helping passengers throughout the journey. The train covered 2,525 miles in about 2.5 days on a schedule of roughly 50 hours. Even as passenger rail declined in the 1960s, the California Zephyr maintained strong ridership thanks to its scenic route and exceptional service. The original CZ made its last run on March 22, 1970, after 21 years of operation. Amtrak revived the name in 1983, and the California Zephyr remains one of Amtrak's most popular trains today. 3. Super Chief. The Santa Fe Railway's Super Chief wasn't just a train, it was a cultural phenomenon. This was the train of the stars, and that wasn't marketing hype. When you rode the Super Chief, you might find yourself sharing a dining car with Humphrey Bogart, Judy Garland, or any number of Hollywood's elite traveling between Los Angeles and Chicago. The Super Chief made history on May 12, 1936, as an early diesel electric-powered transcontinental passenger train. Pulled initially by two 1,800 horsepower diesel locomotives numbered 1-inch and 1A. The train proved that diesel power was the future, but speed was just part of the story. In May 1937, Santa Fe introduced the fully streamlined version with lightweight stainless steel cars built by Budd and stunning new diesel locomotives from Electromotive. These E1 locomotives wore what became one of railroading's most famous paint schemes, the war bonnet livery of red, yellow, and silver. The Super Chief's schedule was blazing 39 hours and 45 minutes to cover 2,227 miles from Chicago to Los Angeles. Inside, passengers enjoyed accommodations unlike anything else on rails. The train featured Turquoise Room, a private dining room, and the Pleasure Dome lounge car, where small parties could dine in exclusive privacy. Every surface was finished with rare woods and decorated with Native American-inspired art. The Super Chief remained all Pullman, meaning every passenger had a private sleeping compartment, no coaches allowed. The train charged a $10 extra fare on top of regular tickets, and the waiting list to ride could stretch for months. The Super Chief operated until 1968, though Amtrak briefly revived the name before renaming it the Southwest Chief, which still runs today. 2. Broadway Limited. Pennsylvania Railroad's Broadway Limited wasn't just another train, it was locked in the fiercest railroad rivalry in American history with the 20th Century Limited. Both operated between New York and Chicago. Both served business travelers and celebrities, but each had its own distinct personality. The Broadway Limited began service in 1912, replacing the Pennsylvania Special as PRR's flagship. The name came not from the famous New York street, but from the railroad's Broadway, its impressive 4-track main line. When streamlining arrived, Pennsylvania Railroad hired industrial designer Raymond Loewy to reimagine their equipment. On June 15, 1938, the exact same day the rival Century was streamlined, the Broadway Limited received its makeover. Lightweight cars in Tuscan red with gold striping. The locomotive arrangement was distinctive. Pennsylvania's famous GG1 electric locomotives handled the New York to Harrisburg segment, with EMDE series diesels taking over westward where electrification ended. The Broadway Limited embodied everything the Pennsylvania Railroad represented. Solid, reliable, luxurious, yet tastefully understated. Sleeping accommodations ranged from economical roomettes to master bedrooms with private baths, unusually rare after World War II. Passengers enjoyed dining cars serving meals on fine china, club cars, and observation lounges throughout the journey. The train covered 908 miles in 16 hours on its fastest schedules. In 1967, the Broadway Limited earned a unique distinction as the last all-Pullman train in the United States. While competing trains had added coaches to boost revenue, the Broadway maintained its exclusive sleeper-only status until December 1967. The train survived through Penn Central's troubled years and continued under Amtrak operation until 1995. 1. 20th Century Limited. Here it is, number 1. The New York Central Railroad's 20th Century Limited. When people talk about the golden age of train travel, this is the train they're talking about. From 1902 to 1967, the Century was simply the most famous train in the world, and New York Central made sure everyone knew it. The train started on June 15, 1902, cutting 4 hours off the New York to Chicago schedule by completing the run in exactly 20 hours, hence the name. That first run arrived 3 minutes ahead of schedule, and that punctuality became the train's trademark. But speed was just the beginning. The 20th Century Limited invented the concept of red carpet treatment literally. Passengers walked to the train in New York and Chicago on a specially rolled out crimson carpet. The phrase has entered the English language, but it started right here. In 1938, industrial designer Henry Dreyfuss gave the Century its iconic Art Deco streamlined look with the locomotives and cars rendered in blues and grays. The train's observation cars, sleeping cars, and dining cars set standards that other railroads tried desperately to match. The Century offered barbershops, secretaries, and every amenity a business traveler could want. This was the train of presidents, movie stars, and captains of industry. At its peak in 1928, the train earned $10 million in revenue and was believed to be the most profitable passenger train in the world. Transportation historians consistently rate the 1938 edition of the Century as the ultimate passenger conveyance. The 20th Century Limited was retired on December 2, 1967, as passenger rail declined. When the last run departed, it marked the end of an era. These 10 trains represent the absolute peak of American passenger railroading, a time when traveling across the country meant luxury, adventure, and genuine style. From the elegant Crescent of the South to the speed of the Hiawatha, from Union Pacific's futuristic city trains to the unmatched prestige of the 20th Century Limited, these trains didn't just move people, they moved the American dream. Sure, we've got faster ways to travel now, but we lost something when these trains disappeared. They represented an America that valued the journey as much as the destination. If you enjoyed this trip down memory lane, hit that subscribe button and help us keep these railroad memories alive. Drop a comment and tell us which of these legendary trains you wish you could have ridden. Until next time, keep those memories rolling.